push for electric cars is bigger than ever, but a retired team of Westinghouse engineers say that's nothing new. We'll take a look back at Skybus and show you who's trying to preserve this piece of Pittsburgh history. On Cue starts now. Well, high gasoline prices and concern for the environment have people taking a serious look at electric cars. But a retired team of Westinghouse engineers say that's nothing new. Back in the 60s, they developed an electric tram called Skybus. You might remember. What happened to those cars that passed through South Park long ago? On Cue contributor Dave Crawley reports on these wheels of the past.
The transportation of the future passed through South Park in the summer of '65. Visitors to the Allegheny County Fair lined up to ride a revolutionary people mover called Skybus. The electric tram built by Westinghouse engineers was operated by computers, no driver. But the future moved elsewhere and Skybus closed down. The Old North Station in South Park is surrounded by weeds. The sign is cracked with age, and the turnstile bears the rust of decades of disuse.
This level area here, it was where the tracks were coming in Skybus into the North Station area, and it was controlled in this control booth, which looks like a telephone booth.
Skybus researcher Doug Brendel says that's how cars were diverted into the building for maintenance. Now North Station is a storage place for county equipment. No trace of the computers and operators who kept Skybus on track. But childhood memories linger of a ride that was really cool in more ways than one.
It was a hot summer day, standing in line during the county fair and just walking up the steps. And first thing I noticed was when the doors opened, it just felt like a refrigerator. It was like one of my first experiences with air conditioning.
A couple miles on a curving track and the ride was done. By 1972, the project was done, at least in Pittsburgh. Two of those cars were crushed for scrap. But whatever happened to the third? Doug Brendel was determined to find out.
A lot of phone calls, a lot of persistence. Once I found Bill Seeger, who was one of the head designers, engineers for Westinghouse on the Skybus project, everything fell into place. I still had to make quite a few phone calls to locate the actual vehicle.
Well, it's been a long, long time since I've seen that vehicle.
He found it at a plant in Elwood City owned by Hall Industries. Bill Seeger, Ed Appleby, and Art Wiesig were the Westinghouse engineers who pioneered this novel concept.
All I could say, I don't know whatever happened to the car, but all of a sudden now, I do.
Years melt away as car number 3 reappears before their eyes.
Oh, I gotta say, it's easy, the plastic windows. Yep, they're the plastic windows.
45 years later.
The Skybus track was elevated by steel girders, but the track didn't look like this. In fact, it was made of concrete, which called for rubber wheels.
So you could take and travel any place, whether it was in a building, out in the street, overhead, not disturbing the neighborhood.
Skybus was seen as the answer to congestion in Pittsburgh at a time when the steel industry was still booming.
They wanted a system that would get you there faster, cheaper, and less time than if you were driving your own Cadillac to work.
Everything that we did had something different on it, had never been tried before.
They started from scratch, an exciting time for engineers who then were young, riding the cutting edge.
Every morning, you didn't have to worry about getting up and going to work. It was something that you really looked forward to.
It was just our own innovation. And we didn't have big meetings or anything. When we had a problem, we just would all huddle together, stay as long as we had to each day to get done.
This truly was a development of a whole new technology.
Plans called for a 90-mile system linking the city with the suburbs. But the Pittsburgh project eventually sank beneath the weight of politics and a hefty price tag.
Skybus was, in my opinion, was 20 to 30 years ahead of its time. And it's proven that. because of the number of systems that are out there working today.
They hope this car will find a permanent home, perhaps a museum. In the meantime, it will remain at Hall Industries, owned by longtime engineer and innovator Harold Hall. It's not the only car in his collection, which explains why that Skybus car is on his factory grounds.
And I saw that they were gonna get rid of them. And I said, oh, let's hold one to one.
The computerized people mover that failed in Pittsburgh was adopted by the airport in Tampa. Others followed all over the world, including, eventually, Pittsburgh International Airport. Skybus is back.
It's become, I consider, to be the premier people mover system in the whole world.
Riding into the future on rubber wheels of the past, called Skybus. I'm Dave Crawley for On Cue.